This is breaking news.
Happening right now, MTA and New York City officials are in Greenpoint making a service announcement regarding the upcoming G train shutdown, which is set to begin on June 28th. Let's listen in.
Had recent hearings. Greenpoint was represented again and again and again about people who are passionate about transit, who are passionate about the environment, who are passionate about change, and who are young and thinking about the future. And so it is really a treat to be in Greenpoint with folks who have that point of view. I need to acknowledge a couple people, in addition to Emily Gallagher, a New York State Assembly member from this neighborhood, a huge transit supporter, always there for transit. I'm also joined by the president and future bosses of New York City Transit, Rich Davey, current transit president, TikTok baby, and Demetrius Critchlow, who has agreed to step in and take on leadership. D is the best, and folks are gonna get to know him better, and we're just so thrilled that we have such an amazing team at Transit. Part of that great team is what we're here to celebrate today, the appointment of Hugo Zamora to be the czar of this incredibly complex but important project we're going to go through on the G train this summer. And we've also got Jose LaSalle, who is, I kidded him that he's the czar of weekends, and weekends have been an incredible story. We went from really struggling to make sure that we optimize service on the weekends, and also got all the work we need to do done because we want to make this system a lot better. And Jose LaSalle has been the guy who's in charge of all the moving parts, so thank you. Sheila Hudson, the VP and Chief Officer of Stations. Where is Sheila? Sheila's in the back there organizing everybody who works in stations to do things today, tomorrow, and after. Marcus Tellis, the Group Station Manager for this area. Marcus, thank you. Rolando Hernandez, the DCS Manager. Where's Rolando? And not far away also Jim Compton, who worries about stations and facilities environment for us every day, all day. And in addition to Assemblymember Gallagher, we've got a representative from Congresswoman Nydia Velázquez's office, Dan Wiley. Where's Dan? Dan, thank you. Congresswoman Velázquez, passionate leader on so many issues, joined us recently for the electric bus announcement at the depot in Queens, and we're going to keep pushing because environmental change and reaction to climate change and making sure that our communities which have suffered from environmental degradation get the first in improvements is part of our priority. It's something we're struggling with right now, no secret, as we retool our capital program, but I just want to reconfirm that for me, when this all shakes out, that remains a priority. So, with all those introductions, let me talk about the matter at hand today. We are doing an innovative, intensive project to modernize the G train in phases over this summer. And the linchpin of all this is the signal system, the 90-plus-year-old signal system. I just went down to Nassau Avenue Station, rather. And Nassau Avenue, you walk into a little room at the end of the platform, the relay room, signal control room. It is the land that time forgot. It is literally, something out of that 80s movie Brazil with a computer that was state-of-the-art in 1930-something. That's how we're controlling trains. This is one of the parts of the system we cannot control the trains from the state-of-the-art operations control center in Midtown because it is so antiquated. So we have made it a priority to set this line up for the future, for not just having modern signals so that we can run more trains safely, closer together, and know where they are so we can pop them through the station like we do on the L train and the 7 train. That's what we're shooting for, and we want the G train to be able to do it. But we have to shut down because otherwise it would go on for years and years. We start. That's the way a project goes on for years and years. We don't like to do that anymore. We want to knock it out and give our customers something good. And we've timed it in what we hope will be the lowest impact part of the year in the summer. It's a big undertaking, but we need to manage it intensively. That's why we have gone through enormous effort to put up this incredible shuttle bus system, to work with the city to try to make sure that the route of those shuttle buses is as clear as possible, to have traffic agents out there. And we need one person, and we overuse the word czar, but that person is going to be Hugo Zamora. Hugo is a guy I know from the Rail Control Center. He was on the captain of the ship at Rail Control right through the pandemic. And I got to know him at that time, and he's a first-class, lifelong transit professional, and he is going to lead this effort and make sure that we optimize the situation for our customers. We love this neighborhood. It is a growth neighborhood. It is a transit neighborhood, and we got to make sure that even as we do the work to bring this system into the late 20th century, for God's sake, it's not even going to, we got to bring it into the modern era, that we do it in a way that minimizes disruption to our customers. So thank you to everybody who's going to contribute to this and make it a success. And now we're going to hear from Rich Davey.
Thank you, Jano. Thank you. Thank you, Jano. And thanks for your leadership. Just a couple things I want to say. First, I actually don't think we overuse the title czar. You are probably the czar of czars, by the way. I don't know exactly, like commissar or premier or something. I'm not sure what. But we came up with this idea a couple of years ago to make sure that there's so much work happening in our system, bringing it up to a state of repair, making the investments to make sure there's reliable service for our customers, but making sure there was one individual who was working across the departments, our colleagues in construction development, our colleagues in bus, stations, customer service, to make sure that we brought together as best we could a seamless operation for our customers. And that person for the G train shutdown will be Hugo. I do want to call out the assembly member as well. So Emily said to us and challenged, I think, me personally, hey, you got to give us some love, all right? We're willing to bear the shutdown. You know, our customers, her constituents, the residents in these communities are willing, but we got to make sure we're running the best possible alternative service. And one of those ways was to make sure we appointed an individual, Hugo, to make sure that we're doing that can make changes on the ground and make sure that we're working with the city and other folks. This might be my swan song, and so I just want to reiterate that this team is all about our customers. We don't always get it right, there's no doubt. But we are always thinking about the people that we move every day, the 6+ million people that we are lucky enough to move every day here in New York. And in this instance, once again, we're bringing our resources to bear to do that. With that, I want to introduce, you're going to, Emily, perfect, excellent. So then the inspiration perhaps for Hugo and ensuring that we're focused has been a huge partner and a friend to transit for us here at New York City Transit. It's been a partnership that I've very much enjoyed. I will miss you, but let's have Assemblywoman Emily Gallagher say a few words.
I am thrilled to be here with the G-Train Czar, with the Weekend Czar, with the MTA Czar, with the future New York City Transit Czar. If we had such caring, thoughtful, and devoted czars in the early 1900s, the Russian Revolution might never have happened. So, with that, I will say that I and all of Greenpoint and Williamsburg really look on the G-Train as a beloved family member who we worry about. We are worried about our beloved train. And to hear that our train is finally going to get the treatment that it deserves, and with a caring surgeon to do that oversight in Hugo, this is the best possible situation that we could have thought of with the dysfunction that we've been experiencing and the many troubles that we've had with flooding and with other environmental issues in the G train. So I'm quite looking forward to the modernization of this train. It has needed it for quite a long time, and I'm really a deep believer that when you have beautiful, fully functioning transit that is loved and worked on by people who know what they're doing and who really care, then public transit becomes a pleasure to ride, and it becomes something that people look forward to rather than dread. And I know that my community is very, very much looking forward to a faster G train, a more modernized way of functioning, and also, let's not forget, our beloved grandma train is also getting a little facelift. Right? So she's also going to come back feeling better about herself, looking better. She is just going to be in top condition when we finally get to see her again. So we're shutting her down for a little while. The system will still be working. The amazing public servants that we have who work in the G train will still be down here working so hard to bring this train up to speed. And I am really, really thankful and grateful that we have such incredible leadership for the MTA and Jano Lieber and the others, because they do not give up. And they have a vision of the future that they are willing to fight for and willing to move things around and make things work regardless of the difficulties that they are facing. And I pledge, and they already know, and my constituents know, that I will fight for MTA and for transit as long as I can, whether I am in this position or not. Transit is our future, and we absolutely need a wonderful, well-run, enormously beloved system of the subway, and I will do everything in my power to make sure that is well-financed and taken care of. So thank you so much. I'm so grateful, and I can't wait to see the G train when she's all done with her surgery.
Thank you, Assembly. Thank you, Rich, Jano. Excited to be here. Just to reiterate some of the things that were discussed today, I'm Demetrius Critchlow, Senior Vice President of Subway, soon to be Interim President for New York City Transit. I am so excited, I gotta tell you, really excited. Look, it's no secret that for our internal delays that we are accountable for, delays that we have responsibility for, signal problems has been one of the top internal delays. And so we want to do whatever's necessary to reduce that amount. Here on the G line, these signals are ancient. Now, just to give you an idea, these signals were here to hearken New York back during the Depression. Just give you that type of perspective. These signals saw us through the Depression. So when you talk about modernization and the need to do so, this is it. There is no project that needs the love that this line needs right now. And so we're happy to be able to do it. The lines that we're comparing it to, the 7 line, the L line, those were the first lines that we introduced CBTC to. They are our top performers, right? It is not unusual for them to hit 90% on-time performance every day, because they're great. The system works. And so we love for the G train to be the same thing. In order to complete this work, we were very thoughtful in what needed to be done. Very thoughtful. Doesn't make sense to do outages for track work after signal system is put in. So we're doing that work in advance. But we're not going to just waste the outage. We're going to take the time to make sure that we're doing renovations as well, so that when customers come back, they see a system that they just didn't see before they left. We'll be doing tile work, we'll be doing painting, we'll be doing railing work, stair treads, all types of work on a number of stations. So stay tuned for what those stations will be and whether or not your specific station will be impacted. With concerns to the service delays, look, we get it. We totally get the impact that this will have. I want you to know that I hear you. The folks to my left and right and behind me hear you. the entire team at New York City Transit hears you. And we're doing what's necessary to make sure that we give you the best service possible during this outage. And that is why I'm pleased to introduce Hugo Zamora. Now, Hugo Zamora, I work with personally at the Operations Control Center. I've spent many nights, long hours, snowstorms, hurricanes, incidents. I've spent so much time with this individual that I can tell you personally the level of commitment, devotion, just an established leader. And that's what you're getting here on the G line. You're getting one of our best that's going to look at things across the board and say, what could we be doing better to manage overall service? Not just subway service, not just our bus and shuttle service, not just our signage and the way we communicate, but everything to make sure that this community gets what it needs in a time when it needs it. So, 34 years this gentleman has, 34 years of service to this organization. He grew up from a station cleaner to where he is now. So his input on what needs to be done during that period is going to be vital. Hugo was also the main point of contact when we created a service strategy during COVID. Remember, we shut down the train system overnight. We had to have all of the trains sanitized. We had to have all of the stations sanitized. People quickly forget how much work we went through. Hugo was one of the masterminds behind that service plan. So, without further ado, I introduce you to the guy, Hugo Zamora, for the G-Line.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Hugo Zamora. I am excited for this role and this opportunity. I want to thank Chairman Lieber, President Davey, and Senior Vice President Critchlow for trusting in me to undertake this project and bring the G-Line into the 21st century in the modern era. As Demetria said, I have 34 years with New York City Transit. I spent 25 years at the Operation Control Center doing emergency management and emergency work, handling all those snowstorms and conditions and flooding. So I'm fully aware of what it takes to make the system and its entirety work. This project is not unique. There's a lot of moving parts. A lot of individuals involved, and the name of the game is to make everybody work together and make sure that all the moving parts of the project are working cohesively. So I am honored and a privilege to bring this focus to the neighborhood and to make sure that the neighborhood receives the best G-Line service that we can provide. Thank you very much.
Start with Gabby Acevedo, WNBC. Gabby.
In terms of, you mentioned the customers, how deep of an impact can you expect with these phases of how this will go? Will it be as uncomfortable, or will there be a way that they can find their way to their commutes?
Sure. We're going to be running a massive shuttle operation, bus shuttle operation, principally on Manhattan Avenue. And without getting into every detail, we've got the city's cooperation in eliminating turns in key areas, changing the parking pattern, changing the delivery patterns, trying to make sure that Manhattan Avenue is clear for buses. And we've done versions of this before, but the level of planning and intensity and the number of buses give us confidence that we can make sure that Greenpoint and the people who depend on this service are going to be well served. We're organized, we're ready to go.
Let's go to Nia Clark from New York One. Nia.
Thank you. You mentioned that this signal work will bring the G-train system into the late 20th century.
Yeah.
Can you explain why we're not using technology that would bring it into the 21st century?
Okay, forgive me, that's a little joke. The MTA has been slowly adopting communications-based train control, modern signaling. And that idea has been around for more than a decade. So that was a little joke by me. The point is, this is modern signaling. This is state-of-the-art signaling that we're putting in here. But we're also taking the opportunity to do a ton of state-of-good repair work. This is an improvement project, but the basics, track, signals, the interlockings and switches, which are also from the 1930s, are all being replaced. That's why we had to, it's not just a matter of putting in some cables and some other components. That's why we actually have to do a shutdown, because the track is being redesigned in a way that you can't easily do just on weekends or overnight. So we're getting it all done, and it is modern signaling, the kind that the L train and the 7 train have made, as Demetrius said, the star performers in the New York City transit system.
All right, next up is Steve Nesson right over there from WNYC, Gothamist On the Way newsletter. Steve.
Hello, Chair. 2 questions, if you'll forgive me. One is a fun one, one's maybe not as fun. But Assemblymember Gallagher has asked for longer G trains and a G train that runs to Forest Hills. Do you have any hopeful comments for her? And the second question is, according to the project website, the signal completion for the G train is 2027. So how does the congestion pricing funding play into that? And is it possible that the signal completion will be delayed because of the funding issues?
Okay. Well, the first question was... Okay. So longer G train. Listen, we've talked about. Listen, this is as I said, a great transit neighborhood. What we've done is we have actually designed this new signaling system so that it could accommodate longer trains. And if you go down on the tracks, you'll see the transponders have been put in a much longer area. So while today we haven't reached the point where the ridership warrants that change, we are going to keep looking at it, because this is, as the Assembly member always reminds us, a fast developing neighborhood that really is a transit neighborhood, and we're going to watch it closely over time. But right now, we are where we are, but the capacity to expand the trains is being installed.
What about 2027 completion date?
Listen, I don't want to talk about specific projects. What we're doing, there's a lot going on, but yesterday I spent 3 hours in 3 separate meetings drilling down on which projects and how do we retool the existing capital program given the developments with respect to congestion pricing. We're intensely focused on it. This project, as I said before, is not only an improvement project with the modern signals, but it is also, in its guts, a state of good repair project. We have all these components on this system are from the President Roosevelt, from the 30s and 40s. So they're literally, falling apart. So we don't have the option of not dealing with it. It's not a matter strictly of modern signaling. It's about the basics being retooled. State of good repair is inherently part of this project.
So it won't be impacted by the loss?
At this time, we're moving forward with the whole project because of its intense state of good repair components. But as I said to you, we're looking closely at what do we do with the much more limited sorts of funds that we have.
All right, let's move on to the great Nolan Hicks right here from New York Magazine. Nolan.
The check's in the mail, Tim. To the questions about signals, there's 2 big signal programs that are supposed to be paid for by congestion pricing: the resignaling of the Fulton Street line and the resignaling of the 6th Avenue subway.
Yeah.
You were talking about prioritizing and deprioritizing projects. Do you have any news for folks who ride the A and the C or the F into the city about whether or not they're going to be getting a more reliable commute?
Yeah, Nolan, you've been following us closely, I know, for some time. The A train project, what we call the Fulton CBTC, the Fulton Signal Project, is on hold, and it is one of the projects that is especially vulnerable given the change to the financial situation of the capital program. The signaling projects on the 6th Avenue line, some of which are in the center of the system, in Manhattan, at Herald Square and other places there, are also vulnerable. I'm not ready to announce specifics across the board. We need some more time, as I said, to really go through the whole program.
Can you just talk a little bit about what you've learned about Governor Kathy Hochul over the last couple of weeks?
No.
All right, anybody else have anything on other topics while we've transitioned? All right, Gabby, back to Gabby from NBC.
I know it's pretty much jumping on Nolan's question, but just to throw it out there, Comptroller Lander looking into this possible lawsuit against the state of New York. Any thoughts on it? Any support towards it, or any comments on his intention? And
I don't know what is going to be announced today, and I want to let all of you hungry media stars go and find out about that. But what I know is the MTA is we're a professional organization. We deal with the facts on the ground, and where we are focused right now is how do we retool, reprioritize, and shrink the capital program to deal with the money that we know we have. There's $28.5 billion of work left in this capital program, and we now have $13 billion to do it. So we have to make some hard choices. That's what I'm spending my time on right now. Other elected officials, there's been a lot of discussion. There are a lot of people who are passionate. There are a lot of folks in Greenpoint who are passionate. We'll let them, have their say and debate the issues. We're focused on preserving the capital program, and most of all, we got to protect our riders. That's where our heads are at right now.
All right, last question here today from Nolan Hicks.
If you're 3Bs? A 3B?
No, this is a sort of valedictory, farewell, we want to be in the mood kind of question.
Yeah, so Rich, when you first joined the MTA New York City Transit, you committed to eating a sandwich with Jose Martinez at the legendary, famous, world-renowned Don Pepe's at Penn Station.
Did we determine who was going to buy that sandwich? I don't recall.
If you're putting this on the tab of a nonprofit in the city, I mean, are you still game? Will you eat a sandwich with Jose before you leave?
I am game, yes.
Excellent.
Especially if he's buying.
All right, photo op, everybody. For those...
Oh, Celtics, hello.
All right, everybody. For those watching the live stream, we will be rolling a B-roll package of the G train. For everybody else, thank you. A little photo op for those on the dais. Where's Mark Herman? There he is. All right, thanks, everybody.
I'll put my hand on.
This has been breaking news.